name is Elizabeth and welcome to Book Babble. Today I'm going to be doing my 2015 statistics. I didn't do a video for this in 2014, so I really have nothing to compare it to because I just don't want to do the statistics for another year because this was a lot of work. But hopefully in 2016 I'll have a statistics video so I can compare the 2 years. But right now I'm just going to lay out some of the statistics that I got together for 2015, and I thought some of them were pretty interesting. So let's get started. So to begin, I read 144 books this year with about 92 individual authors, and I read 43,223 pages, which averages out to about 301 pages per book. The longest book that I read was Winter by Marissa Meyer, and the shortest thing that I read this year was the 4th issue of Tokyo Ghost, which is about 22 pages, and Winter is about 824 pages. The gender of the authors I read was okay. I guess it could have been better. I read 89 female authors, 51 male authors, and 5 various, which is a combination of male, female, and I mean, a lot of people struggle to read more female authors than male, and obviously I don't. I guess maybe just the type of books that I read are mostly published by female, young adult, fantasy, dystopian. There's a lot of female authors in those genres, so I guess I just don't have an issue reading female authors. I really should probably try to read more male authors, but I was pretty happy with this number. Before I move on, I did want to mention that I did not include race and or nationality in my statistics, and that's because, well, I read 92 different authors this year, so looking up the nationality and the race of 92 different authors was very, very difficult, and there were quite a few that I couldn't get a definite answer, and I didn't want to assume and look like a jerk. You know what I mean? I mean, we live in an age today that your race and nationality it could be so fluid. You could be multiple races, and I'm not sure what an author wants to be classified as. I don't know. So I just didn't even want to touch the whole race and nationality issue. I just wanted to let it be. I feel like that I read a good portion of people of color, but I didn't want to assume an author's race or nationality if I did not have a definitive answer, and there were too many authors going through my list that I did not have a definitive answer about, so I just didn't want to assume, so I just skipped over that part of my statistics. When it comes to genre, I like to separate the books in each genre by the type of book that it is. So the first graph that I have for you is the book that I read, young adult, middle grade, graphic novel, or adult, and then I'll have a separate graph further breaking it down those genres. So I of course read mostly young adult this year with 86, and then my next highest was comic books and graphic novels at 32, then middle grade and adult were tied at 13. Further breaking down those genres, I read the most science fiction and fantasy this year with 88. I read 5 classics, 15 dystopians, 15 retellings, and 13 contemporaries with 6 other, which includes horror, and I'm not really sure if the other category, there were like 1 or 2 of each small genres that I just don't really read a lot of books of, but I'm pretty happy with this number. Obviously, you can tell that science fiction and fantasy is my favorite. I'm really proud of my number of graphic novels / comics this year. Hopefully next year I can read a more middle grade and more adult, but if I don't, I'll be okay with that as well. On to format, I don't really mind. I don't try to read one format more than the other or even out my formats. This is mostly just for my own records. I read 16 ebooks, 125 physical books, and 3 audiobooks. What is important to me is my level of owned books versus borrowed books. I'm a huge believer in the library, and I feel like people don't use it enough, and it's just, you know, it creates less waste and people can read the same book over and over again, and I really, really like that. So my the difference between the library / borrowed books and owned books, I read 59 library / borrowed books and 85 of my own books. I was really expecting it to be the other way around, but I guess I read a lot of ebooks this year too, because I just didn't feel like I read a lot of books that were on my shelf. But that's okay. I'm proud of this number. I'm hoping to more even out my library compared to my own. I like to read a lot of books in the library, and I'm hoping that in 2016 I read about 50-50 of library slash borrowed to owned. My page count is a little all over the place, I think because I read a couple of huge books this year, and a lot of the comic books and graphic novels that I read are under like 150 pages. So as you can see in the graph, I read 28 books from 1 to 150 pages, 29 from 150 to 300, 67 from 301 to 450, which I'm pretty proud of, 16 with 450 to 600 pages, 3 books with 601 to 750 pages, and 1 book 750 to 900 pages, and that would be Winter. I'm okay with this. I guess I'm not surprised that I have a lot of short books on there because I read so much graphic novels and comics, and it really like creates a skew to that side because most of the comics that I read are under 100, 150 pages. But that's okay with me. As long as my average is around 300, which it was this year, was a 301, I'm pretty happy with that. My date of publication was absolutely horrendous, depending on who you ask. I like to read a lot of new books that were published in the last 5 years, which is why this graph looks like that. I only read 3 books between 1900 and 2000, and this is probably one of the worst graphs on my thing. You're technically supposed to have like you're supposed to go by the same gaps, 5 or 10 years, and mine just would have had like this huge gap in the middle because I literally only read 3 books that were published between 1900 and 2000. And I'm not a big fan of older books. I like to read what's new and what's been published recently, so I'm not too upset about that. Just the graph looks weird, so I'm sorry. And then I read 7 books from 2000 to 2005, 17 books from 2006 to 2010, and 117 from 2011 to 2015. Not surprised. I was pretty much expecting that. I do have to say that 1 book I read is published in 2016. It has not been published yet, and that is This Is Where It Ends. So I didn't feel like I should include it in the graph, so it's just not included in there because it hasn't happened yet, I feel like. I don't know, but just figured I'd let you guys know. When it comes to my ratings, this graph really pretty much says to me that I read what I know that I'm going to like. I rated 2 books a 1 star, 8 books a 2 star, 39 books a 3 star, 60 books a 4 star, and 36 books a 5 star with an average of 3.9. I know what I like, I know what I'm going to like, and the books that I gave a 1 star I figured I would like, and then I just didn't, and they really disappointed me for some reason or another. But I really feel like this graph tells me that I know what I don't waste time on books that I know I'm not going to like, and I just read lots of books that I know I'm going to love or even like. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of this number. Obviously, I don't want to read more 1-star books in 2016. That's not going to happen. I'm pretty proud of this graph, and I'm pretty proud of myself for knowing what I like to read. Alright guys, that is the end for my statistics. I hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait until the end of 2016 so I can compare my statistics between 2 years. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!